Before we even start, I'd like to clarify that this video is not meant to teach you how to pronounce each letter of the Kazakh alphabet. If you're after that, there are plenty of other videos out there you could watch. I suggest you find and watch those videos first. In this video, however, I will tell you what those other videos don't tell you, and that's what category each letter belongs to, and which letters break this whole system entirely. Knowing this will help you with choosing the right suffixes, for example. The modern Kazakh Cyrillic alphabet consists of 42 letters. In this video, I will use one additional unofficial letter, which will make it 43 letters. The native Kazakh letter inventory consists of 9 vowel letters and 20 consonant letters, making it 29 letters in total. These are the native Kazakh vowels. In the top row, we have back vowels, and in the bottom row, we have front vowels. The Kazakh language has something called vowel harmony, meaning back vowels stick with back vowels and front vowels stick with front vowels. This is important to understand when you're choosing what suffixes to add, because O is equivalent to O is equivalent to O is equivalent to and A is equivalent to both A and Ye. So if the word is ata or zhilqi, you add the accusative suffix n or the plural suffix lar. If the word is aje or n, you add the accusative suffix n or the plural suffix ler. On the right, we have rounded vowels, and on the left, we have unrounded vowels. The only vowels used in suffixes are a, ye, and e. This is because the rounded vowels and a don't usually appear in non-initial syllables. However, there is one thing to keep in mind. Sometimes a does appear in the final syllable of the word, and it has special rules for suffixation. When a is the only vowel in the word, the suffix is always front vowel. But it isn't so when a is found in the non-initial final syllable of the word. For example, take the words kna and kuman. If the vowel in the suffix has to be chosen between and it's going to be the front vowel knane, kumande. If the vowel in the suffix has to be chosen between a and ye, it's going to be the back vowel a, knalar, kumandar. The vowel harmony section is over now. From now on, I'll be ignoring it and focusing only on consonants. In the first row, we have voiced consonants. In the second row, the voiceless consonants. In the third row, we have sonorants, including nasals and liquids. The unofficial consonant letter I added is in the liquid section. Knowing the distinction between these consonants will help you with the correct suffix choice, because you'll have to look out for the consonant assimilation too. At the ends of words, with the exception of z and zh, all voiced consonants get devoiced, and usually it's reflected in the orthography. The Arabic word for book originally has b at the end, but in Kazakh it's pronounced and written as ktab. Sometimes the consonant at the end is devoiced, but it's not reflected in the orthography, like the Persian word for memory, jat. The suffixes that come after them are the same ones as the ones that come after the voiceless consonants, but if the suffix starts with a vowel and not a consonant, then the letters k, k, p get voiced and change to g, r, b in both pronunciation and writing. During suffixation, voiceless connects to voiceless, voiced connects to voiced, but when sonorants come into play on either side, there ceases to exist any one-size-fits-all solution, and you have to consider each suffix independently. To demonstrate this, let me show you these 6 suffixes. All of these have 3 variations, the main one that starts with a sonorant, and then the voiced and voiceless variants. We no longer need to explain the voiceless ones. For comparison, I'll first show a word that ends with a vowel, and another that ends with a voiced consonant. The latter is always followed by the voiced consonant suffix. Here the vowel is followed by the main suffix. For the first-person singular copular suffix, all sonorant-ending words follow the vowel pattern. For the accusative suffix, they all follow the voiced consonant pattern. But when it comes to the genitive suffix, there is a divide. The nasal-ending words follow the vowel pattern, and the liquid-ending words follow the voiced consonant pattern. The first-person plural copula does it the other way around. The plural suffix is the same as the first-person plural copular suffix, but the one word that ends with o follows the voiced consonant pattern because of gemination restrictions in the phonology. And the ablative suffix is the weirdest, because not only do the liquid-ending words follow the voiced consonant pattern, but so does the vowel-ending word. The main version of the suffix only follows the nasal-ending words, and also words that have a possessive suffix, but that's a whole other thing I'm not going to get into. In summary, memorize how each suffix treats different consonant types. These were all the native Kazakh letters. Now it's time to show the rest of the alphabet. Most of these non-native letters are used in unadapted loan words, but there are 2 problematic ones in particular that are ubiquitously found in native vocabulary and suffixes, which beg to be explained. This brings us to the most complicated and necessary part of this video, explaining how I and U are very problematic and don't make any sense. You might think these letters are vowels, but in the actual Kazakh language, they are not vowels. In fact, they didn't even exist prior to 1938. They were added then, and now they are replacing native vowel consonant sequences. A stands for the consonant A, with either the vowel or the vowel in front of it. Mui, Bi. In some words, O stands for the native consonant O, which doesn't have a dedicated letter in the modern alphabet. Tau, Awin. But in other words, similar to A, it stands for the consonant O, with either the vowel or the vowel in front of it. So, Yelu. If you need proof that these artificial letters are problematic, just look at these verb conjugations. Wochumaide, Yistemide, Wochumaura, Yistemeuge. First you have the full root, then the negative suffix ma, then the converb suffix a or the infinitive suffix o, and then another suffix at the end for the sake of it. When you do have the negative suffix, everything works perfectly. All roots and suffixes are fully written down, the boundaries between them are evident, no letters are omitted. But look what happens when you remove the negative suffix and make the word positive. Woqide, Yesteide, Woqura, Yestuge. The sounds are mostly the same. Sure, you have some assimilation going on here with the perfective suffix, but everything is still made up of native sounds. But in writing, you can't just remove the negative suffix, you have to remove letters from both sides around it as well, and replace them with a completely different letter that doesn't even make its own unique sound. Suddenly the root is shorter, the suffix is not evident, the morpheme boundary is lost. The problems don't end there. If you think to yourself, why should I bother with this complicated stuff? Why not just treat them as the 10th and 11th vowels of the alphabet? Well, if you want to attach the proper suffixes, you have to know that they are not vowels. The third person possessive suffix attaches directly if the preceding sound is a consonant I, Aya, but if the preceding sound is a vowel, then a filler consonant s is added in between. Ata, Aje, Atase, Ajese. The dot here represents the end of the preceding syllable. As you can see, every syllable after the first one has to start with a consonant, whether it's the additional s or the last consonant of the root. Now if you look at these words that contain artificial letters a and o, first of all, you can't even guess the vowel harmony, you have to memorize that separately. Second, when you add a possessive suffix, a filler s does not get added, once again proving that they are not vowels. But look, what was once a simple rule saying non-initial syllables don't start with a vowel is now made obsolete because in writing, they do. Sadly, most Kazakhs aren't even aware of this. They can properly divide the word awin into syllables, but struggle to do so with the word keruin. The final syllable in these two words is exactly the same, and yet because the letter O absorbs the preceding vowel into itself in the word keruin instead of keruin, the Kazakhs end up saying keruyin. The E sound before E is only supposed to appear in the vowel initial syllables at the beginning of the word, not anywhere beyond that. This alphabet, instead of being an accurate representation of spoken language, instead brings its own shortcomings into the spoken language, thereby distorting it. All of these words on screen, as well as countless others, also bear the consequences of flawed orthography. Yu is pretty much the same as O with E in front of it, and therefore carries the same problems as O, such as the invisible distinction between Zhiyu and Tiyu, which wouldn't be a problem if these foreign letters weren't used. Ya is just I plus A, like in Oya and Piyaz. As I said earlier, there was a time when these problematic letters weren't even conceived of. I believe the Latin alphabet called Yanalif or Zhangalip, used from 1929 to 1938, was perfect for our language and had super simple grammar. Look at the native Kazakh letter inventory in the Cyrillic alphabet. I'm going to transition each letter into their Yanalif predecessors. Ready? Here we go. If you're wondering if I'd use this alphabet nowadays, the answer is no, because modern computer systems aren't going to support it. But the Latin alphabet I use is based on Yanalif nonetheless. I'm keeping these letters unchanged and visually updating the remaining letters to fit modern customs, but they still retain their old phonetic values. These are the 29 letters I want our people to use from now on. I mean, it just makes sense. Before 1938, we had two vowels, and the consonant E on the unrounded side, and their equivalents, O, and U, on the rounded side. But ever since then, we had this completely confusing situation where in addition to O, and E, we have this vowel-like E that doesn't fit the vowel harmony system, while on the rounded side, not only is the vowel-like equivalent of that is added, but it also deprives us of the native consonant U. And now, in the latest Latin alphabet proposals, they want to do the same on the unrounded side, cementing a third hybrid vowel where there used to be only two of them. What's even worse is that they're misusing the letters. They're using the letter Y for like the Slavic languages, instead of using it for I like the normal Turkic languages. And if you're saying this has nothing to do with the Turks, it absolutely does, because the government is going for the Turkish model of dotted and dotless I, and yet using them for the wrong letters again. Let me now show you the modern cross-linguistic comparison. These are the place names in Kazakhstan and how they are translated into Karakalpak, Crimean Tatar, Turkish and Uzbek. As you can see, all of these languages are in agreement that dotted I is not a consonant but a front vowel, dotless I is not a front vowel but a back vowel, Y is not a back vowel but a consonant, and a plain U is not a consonant but a back vowel. The only reason we're in this situation is because our people want us to use the dotted I and plain U for the artificial Russian-esque letters instead of our own native ones. Since the Latin script that I prefer gets rid of such foreign problematic letters, everything lines up with the rest and is historically accurate. So that's why I made this video, to remind the Kazakhs what our true sound system is like. Thank you.